Hey guys, welcome back to Wentworth Life and welcome to the next Prisoner Cell Block H episode review. Now, in this video I am going to be reviewing episode 8, Snobby Cow. Oh god, now this episode title that I've invented will make sense because this is the episode where one of my all-time least favourite characters arrives, Helen Masters. Oh god, I really dislike this character and this episode heavily features her. But anyway, let's just get this show on the road. So, meet new character Helen Masters, a rich businesswoman who we first see on TV when the women are watching her in the rec room. Now, at first, Helen comes across as this nice, caring woman trying to help women feel better about themselves in life, but behind closed doors, she is one snobby cow. So Helen is staying in the Monarch Hotel with her assistant James, and this is when we get to see the real Helen Masters. She tells James that working class women are weak and they deserve to be exploited. Wow. Marilyn manages to get a job at the Monarch Hotel, and when Helen calls for room service, Marilyn delivers the champagne, but she ends up struggling to open the bottle, and Helen is just really rude to Marilyn. Even after when Marilyn tells her that it's her first day on the job, give her a break, Marilyn ends up being rude back, which I just love, and Helen ends up reporting her bitch, sending Marilyn down to the kitchen washing dishes. Now, Helen then gets drunk in her room and she has like a massive argument with her assistant James, and he ends up leaving the hotel and spends the night at a bar. Fast forward to the next day and the police arrive at Helen Masters' room, asking her to accompany them to the station as a child was involved in a hit and run with Helen's car. Now Helen tells the cops that apparently her car was stolen. How convenient. She ends up getting charged anyway, but she is like released on bail. Helen then does something really stupid by trying to travel on a plane for business, and her own assistant James ends up calling the police, and Helen is then headed straight to Wentworth. Now, this is where the fun begins. So Helen is pretty much used to getting anything that she wants, and she's used to getting her own way. She answers to nobody. So when she is inducted into Wentworth Detention Centre, she has a bit of a shock. When Helen refuses to strip for the strip search, Vera ends up doing it by force, and it's great to watch. I mean, for the first half of this episode, we see just how much of a bitch that Helen is, and then we get to enjoy her downfall for the second half of the episode. When Helen meets the other women in the dining room, Lynn Warner shows her what to do. Now you can literally see in Helen's face that she is disgusted by the women. Now, of course, Helen has been accused of killing a child in a hit and run, but B tells the women to wait until it's been proven. Helen's face is an absolute picture when she sees the prison food. She literally looks like she's going to vomit. She ends up telling the women that she is gonna go and make a complaint, and the women end up egging her on, if you pardon the pun. There's a scene in the dining room when Frankie clears all of the dirty dishes off the tables. She then tries to push these plates into Karen's face, and then Karen pushes the dishes and they all smash on the floor. Vera ends up shouting at Frankie, but Helen, she gets up and announces that it wasn't Frankie, it was Karen. And B and all of the women are looking really pissed off with Helen because rule number 1, you do not lag. Oh, it's so good watching Helen just dig herself deeper and deeper. I love it. And things get even worse for her when Eddie tells B that Helen reported Marilyn on the outside. So B, Karen, Doreen and Lizzie, they all go to Helen's cell and mess around with her clothes. Now, when Helen arrives, things get a little bit serious, and B tells her that the main rule is that you don't tell the Screws anything about anything, ending with B drawing lipstick around Helen's neck. Things get even worse for Helen, which is just great news for us. A witness has come forward saying that they saw a woman driving their car. Now, don't forget, Assistant James left the hotel that night and went to a bar, so Helen doesn't have an alibi. And by the end of the episode, Helen is pretty much told by her solicitor to stop fighting the authorities, stop being so difficult, and to try and get sympathy and public opinion on her side. So, Helen ends up going to the governor and telling her that she is going to stop fighting for her bail and that she's going to remain in Wentworth until her trial because there is a point to be made. Oh god, I just cannot stand this character. Thank God she's only around for a few episodes. The writers did a really good job in making us hate Helen from the get-go, but it was really satisfying to see her getting into so much trouble in the prison with the staff and the inmates for the second half. Okay, going away from Helen now, and let's talk about Marilyn and Eddie. So as I said earlier, Marilyn ended up getting herself a job in the Monarch Hotel, but her disgusting boss, he tries to put the hard word on her, and he ends up like grabbing and touching her bum at one point, which is just so gross. Sexual assault. Marilyn finds out that it's Eddie's birthday coming up soon, and she wants some extra money so that she can get him a nice present. She asks her sleazy boss for an advance on her salary, and he ends up saying yes towards the end of the episode, but he wants something in return. And Marilyn, she just ends up like pushing him off her and quitting her job. She then contacts her old pimp to do a one-off job, and I'm just like, oh no, Marilyn, this is not going to end well. And it doesn't, because Marilyn, she makes a load of money. She then buys Eddie a very expensive looking watch for his birthday. And when he opens it, straight away he challenges her and says to her, are you back on the game? And Marilyn gets really upset and storms off, but to be fair, you are back on the game. Vera isn't doing very well after the death of her mother. First of all, she tries asking Dr. Miller out for a drink, but he ends up putting her off, making her feel worse. She then gets drunk and throws something at her mum's photo. And later on, she tries on a wig and tries to put on some makeup, which does not end well. Poor Vera. If you guys remember in Wentworth, you know, Kate Atkinson's version of Vera, she also had problems putting makeup on. So yeah, I love comparing, I love it. But Prisoner's version of Vera is so much more tragic from the start, in my opinion. She really doesn't have anyone, no friends, no compassion, no people skills, unless it's like, you know, giving out orders. What are we gonna do with you, Vera? You need a gay best friend. Over to Frankie now, and Bea and the girls, they're continuing to try and wind her up over this farm thing, but Frankie, she ends up putting Doreen in her place when Doreen gets a little bit too cocky. But Frankie isn't enjoying seeing Karen turn into this whole other person, and in the end, Frankie tells Karen that she wants to make a deal. She will leave her alone as long as Karen stops it with the wisecracks in front of the other women. It's quite obvious that Frankie, like, she doesn't only just have the hots for Karen, but it's looking like that she really does actually care about her as well. Before I wrap up this video, we have to talk about newcomer Doug, who I forgot to talk about in the last video, so I'm going to talk about him in this video. Some of the men from the men's prison have come to do some work in the grounds of Wentworth, and Doug and Lynn Warner, they've been talking through the fence and building this like little friendship. Lynn obviously has a cheeky little crush on Doug, and Doug probably feels the same way about her, but would he feel the same if he knew what she was actually in there for? Which reminds me, Erica ended up getting a phone call from her police friend, and they have found no new evidence to back up Lynn's claims, and they are no longer going to continue to investigate. Oh, poor Lynn. What on earth is gonna happen now? I mean, Erica and Meg, they decide to keep it quiet from Lynn for the time being because Lynn has only recently started eating again, but these things always have a way of coming out. I forgot to mention there's actually a hilarious scene where Lizzie pretends to be Lizzie Borden, and Helen Masters literally freaks out when Lizzie asks her to give them back her axe, and the women all burst out laughing. It's brilliant, it's great. Even Frankie is there having a little giggle with everyone. So all in all, this was an okay episode for me. The main reason why I'm not overly into this episode is because of Helen Masters. She features a lot in this episode. I mean, she sucks most of the airtime and it just does my head in. But it's an okayish episode once Helen is brought into Wentworth and brought down a peg or two. So my favourite part of the episode will probably have to be Frankie teaching Doreen some manners in the laundry when Doreen was getting too big for her boots. And my least favourite part would have to be anything with Helen Masters, literally counting down the episode until she leaves. Don't worry, she's not in many more. But guys, I would love to hear your thoughts on this episode. Also, what are your opinions on Helen Masters? Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments box below. Okay guys, well thank you all for watching today's video. Make sure you smash that subscribe button. Have a great weekend, whatever you're doing, and I will see you all again very, very soon.